Hello you guys, welcome back to another video on my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I am delving into one of the biggest and greatest accomplishments of my adulthood, saving $300,000 by the day I turned 25, which I actually just turned last Monday on the 29th. So these last few days I've just been basking in this sense of victory and accomplishment, and now I want to sit down here and make this video and share with all of you guys exactly how I did it. As content creators, I feel sometimes we're a lot too much focused on growing our brands, growing our platforms, our businesses, finding success in the digital world. We don't always put as much effort and attention in setting ourselves up financially, focusing on our financial health and our financial futures and setting up for the future, especially as a self-employed content creator where your income is so volatile and can change in a split second. So here are all of the moves and strategies and things that I implemented in my journey to saving $300,000 by the day I turned 25. So the first most obvious thing I did was setting up my financial goals. And I feel like whenever you hear somebody talk about financial goals, it's always something like wanting to save X amount of money, or I want to be a millionaire by the age of 30, or wanting to save for something specific like a vacation or some kind of a purchase. But I think what's been far more important and impactful on my own journey is really focusing on a vision. The vision of some kind of endpoint and a lifestyle that I want to be living by the time I finish that journey. I first began this journey the day I turned 18 with my sights on the day I turned 25 as my endpoint. So all along that entire journey from the age of 18 to 25, I was visualizing the lifestyle that I wanted to have by the time I turned 25. I wanted to still be doing this full time while also being able to afford my living, afford my lifestyle, able to pay my bills, still being able to travel with friends and family, do all the things that I love, and not have to worry about where or how I'm going to pay for my next grocery bill. Having that visualization in mind of the lifestyle that I wanted to have by the time I turned 25 is really what helped me create point A and point B and create little plans along the way to get myself from the start to the end. It also really helped me in terms of manifestation and also being able to check monthly and annually how I'm doing along that journey and being able to adjust accordingly. So definitely along this entire journey, one of the biggest, most impactful things was being a lot more vision focused and a lot less materialistic focused. Now secondly, I know that budgeting and having a budget and doing budget with me content on YouTube and social media as a whole really is really popular. Personally, I do not really have a budget that I stick to because as a self-employed content creator, things are going to change every week, every month, and every year in terms of how much I spend, what I spend on, how much I'm making, how much I'm saving. All of that is going to vary weekly, monthly, and yearly depending on lots of different factors. So what I've taken to doing instead along this entire journey is having a financial tracker. So inside of my Notion, I have a tracker where I've broken down everything into different categories from leisure spending to bills. That way, like I said, I'm tracking every single penny I'm earning and spending and in various different categories. I definitely went a little bit wild in my youth when I first began earning money from YouTube, spending without tracking, not really focusing on my earning versus spending. And though fortunately it never really cost me all that drastically, it's not something that I want to be all that loose with as I'm getting closer to my 30s. Definitely not a mistake I want to be making and want to be a lot more intentional. I've also learned that it makes things a lot easier when it comes to tax season because if I have every single dollar I'm spending and earning in various different categories, it makes filling out my tax forms that much easier. Also a lot easier to track what is and isn't a tax write-off to save myself as much money as possible in tax season. So a big part of all that saving for me has been tracking and monitoring. Now obviously something that is going to help you save more money is to spend less money. Now at my core, I'm not a big spender. I typically never go to the mall. I don't do all that much online shopping, and I'm really not one of those people who buys the newest, coolest gadget you see on TikTok. The bulk of my spending is usually on my necessities, my bills, getting dinner and drinks with friends or family, maybe treating myself to a little something I've had my eye on once every month, and really that's pretty much it when it comes to my spending on a monthly basis. So rather than cutting back and cutting things out of my life that bring me joy, like going to brunch with friends or family, going on vacations I've dreamt of my entire life, rather than cutting, what I've done is swapping. For example, a few months ago, I switched to doing all my groceries at Walmart rather than where I used to do all my shopping where everybody else does it. And the clear and easy to tell difference there is that my grocery bill was cut in half. I then decided to cancel all of my streaming services, cut the cord on my cable, and instead I paid for a yearly subscription to DAZN for all of my football games and all that stuff. And instead of cable, get an IPTV subscription, which is like $100 a year rather than a month, which has just made such a massive difference in the money I'm spending and saving when it comes to streaming and cable. Just finding little ways like that to make different swaps in your life that are more financially friendly rather than just outright cutting things out of your life, that has made such a massive difference on how much I'm able to save every month. Add on to that, I've also very intently avoided debt throughout this entire journey. Obviously, building up good credit and a good credit score is something that you want to start as early on as possible, and fortunately, thanks to my parents, I started that in my teen years. But throughout this entire journey, I also avoided debt like the plague, which meant using my credit cards as little as possible. So what I took to doing is I would use my credit card for bigger purchases like a vacation or furniture, maybe some kind of a really big dinner with friends or family. Those kinds of bigger purchases I would put on my credit card, but only if I knew for a fact I could pay off the entire thing within the week. Obviously, the more debt you collect, the more money you have sitting there on your credit card gathering dust, the more it's going to affect your credit, and also leave you with more money in your debt and less money in your savings. And the absolute worst feeling in the world when you're trying with everything in you to really build up your savings is to feel like your debt is like a dark cloud hanging over your head. So that is why over these last few years I've been consciously really focused on not having any debt hanging over my head, paying off my credit card every chance I get, and really just not using my credit cards at all if I can avoid it. Now this is the one that changed absolutely everything for me, so if you're still watching at this current point in time, you're about to learn my big secret. And actually, if you are still watching at this point, go ahead and let me know down below in the comments, because I'd love to know how many people actually made it to this point. So here is my big secret: increasing your revenue streams. We unfortunately live in a current economy where a lot of people cannot get by on a single paycheck. A lot of people have had to go out and get a second, even a third job just to be able to pay the bills and afford their living. And that becomes even more volatile when you're self-employed, don't have a set salary, you make a different amount of money every month and every year. You have that possibility at the back of your head that anything can change literally overnight and you want to be protected. For the longest time when I first got started with doing YouTube full-time, I was solely focused and dependent on my AdSense, where there are some months that I make $4,000, even $5,000 in AdSense, and some other months where I only make a few hundred, which of course is not sustainable income and not something you can depend on. So that is when I really got started into doing paid sponsorships and brand deals, building as many affiliate partnerships as possible, and really just stacking as many income and revenue streams as possible to be consistently making 4, 5, even 6 figures every month. And then to add to that, the biggest part of growing my savings is investing. I was definitely what you would call a late bloomer to investing. I really didn't get started in investing until I was about 22, 23. But in these last few years, I've gotten myself a financial advisor and I've really gotten into all sorts of different types of investing, having a bunch of different little accounts and things working together, so that while I'm out there earning money through my social media, putting all that money in the bank, once the money does hit my bank, it's making even more money through my investing, which of course is only going to further contribute to creating a nice little financial cushion and protecting my future. That has without a doubt made the biggest difference and the greatest impact when you're able to turn your existing money into even more money without having to do literally anything. So that, you guys, is it for this video. That is everything I've done, all the strategies I have implemented to be able to save over $300,000 by the day I turned 25. Hopefully this video was interesting in some way, shape, or form, gave you something to think about, or was just entertaining in some way, shape, or form. As always, thank you all for watching. I love you all to the moon and back, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!